Welcome, welcome, welcome. Potent Podcast, episode 30, end of the year review. Trills here. Jay, as usual. Trills, what's up, bro?
Chilling, bro. What's up with you? How you been?
Chilling, man. So I got a question. So, we were just talking and, usually we're on here, right? And we have our adult beverages and you are the connoisseur, right? So today you said, you just said, I'm all on water. So I'm interested to figure out where the philosophical change happened. Was it something that happened last night, or would you like to go into it a little bit more?
So like we were talking about like how like the break was and everything, and really, bro, like I didn't feel like I had like like any kind of breaks, but because like all of quarantine has kind of felt like a break, but since I would say around Thanksgiving time, I've kind of like been ODing, bro. I've like been going to work 3 days out the week, and even during that time, like we go out for like lunch, and I've just been like drinking like a fucking madman, bro. And I just got to chill.
So like when you go on lunch and shit, like you just hit the bar, you grab a little drink, and then you head right back.
We hit the bar, bro, or we like have like a mini fridge in the spot because everybody not in the spot, right? Like everybody's not in the building, so the mini fridge is like stocked up, bro. And I'm done, man. I'm done for now, at least for now. I mean, New Year's Eve is coming. That's a whole different thing, but
as you can see, I'm having a drink, but I had the same sort of thing, like where I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna take a little while. I took a nice little piece off, but it's funny. As soon as you like taste it again, it's almost like it's just like old school, right? Fill it up again, like like you went this entire time without drinking, and you're like, yeah, I'm good, and then all of a sudden you get a taste of it, and you go crazy again. Anyway, so for everybody that's on the stream right now, we normally don't do this live, but we wanted to change it up, being that this is our 30th episode, which is something that we I feel like every 5 episodes we're talking about let's celebrate, and yeah, let's celebrate, but also it's the end of the year. We're not doing a show next week. We're not going to do one after that. We're probably just going to come right back after the year's up. So, what time like this, this is the best time now to review everything that has happened this year in hip hop as far as music goes. And man, for a year that was loaded with, just terrible thing after terrible thing, hip hop really came through this year for us, man. Like this is the only thing that really was consistently every week somebody was putting something out to a point where it was like, man, this is really holding me down. Again, we've talked about it. I don't know if it was because I was stuck at home this entire time. We're hip hop historians, but there was something about this year's music and about the spectrum, right? From one end to the other, like so many great releases. And, it's going to be hard to highlight all of them. And if anybody's here in the comments, anything like that, and you hear us talking about an album and we're missing any, please let us know so we can go over it. Because, when I was trying to compile this list, this 15, 20 list, I'm like, how the hell am I just going to narrow this down to 20, man? Especially when you consider all the subgenres.
I mean, what's even wilder is that we thought about just doing the top 10, and you hit me and you were like, bro, how the hell are we going to do this shit? And like, I was even thinking it too. Like when I had got to 10, I was like, oh, but this person kind of deserves some. It's just very hard. So we just kind of just decided we'll just like go free for all with it.
Right. And to preface this, there is 2 more weeks left in this year. So, and the way people have been dropping things out of nowhere, we could wake up tomorrow morning with another classic on our hands. And I only say that because I feel like this year is littered with them. I'm not certain if I've gone back and compared 2019, 2018, all those other years, but I feel like 2020 has a large amount of albums that are going to be listened to 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. And I'm not certain that any year has had, as many as this. I mean, I have to go back and look, and if somebody can refresh my memory, I'm all for it. I'm not saying that I know for sure, but this feels like this year was filled up with so many great releases and classic albums. And it's just insane to think that in 2020, we're still getting things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Do you want to start with? All right. I'll let you go. You let me know what you want to do. Do you want to start with MVPs of 2020? Do you want to have a Griselda talk? Because we have to just do their albums separately. Otherwise, our top 10 albums is probably just going to be all Griselda albums. Or we just do the regular top albums of the year. What do you want to start? I'll leave it up to you.
So I say we go with our MVPs. Then I say we'll do our Griselda list, and then we'll follow with our full list.
Perfect. I love it. So, having said that, you start. Give me one of your MVPs this year. Somebody that is like, they have the all-star team or they have the all-pro team at the end of the year. It's 5 guys, right? In this case, we're going to try to do as many as we can, but who's one of your guys?
I mean, look, we can't even like begin to start it off without mentioning Pop Smoke.
Yeah. I mean, again, as much as we talk about how great 2020 was, it's like it's so bittersweet to get this album. Pop's album did make my top albums discussion also. Just wanted to put that out there. But again, it's so disheartening to have somebody really, reach the potential that we thought he could, and then have it taken away, so needlessly and so carelessly. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of them, man. You want to talk a little bit more about him, or?
I mean, you kind of summed that up, but like, we were looking at somebody that, like, for sure, like, this is a different time, right? So streaming is very different from 2002, 2003, right? So he would have never done this the way that the guy I'm referring to has, but he was on course to be likened and akin to 50 Cent, right? And you just can't, it was just something you could not deny, right? Like, and him ushering in like the Brooklyn drill, sound, like initially people were a little hesitant to it, but it was like you couldn't deny it. And it's just sad, it's bittersweet, like you said, but you can't talk about the year without Pop.
Yeah, for sure, man. And again, it's always so disheartening, like when people are like, yo, this was the album of his life and everything after he passed. Like, why you didn't tell him all that stuff then?
Yeah.
I just get scared that sometimes when people pass, projects get lifted because of, but I'm not trying to say that with Pop. You know what I mean? Like, I just wonder if, the tragedy never happens, do people feel the same way about Pop as they do now, right? Like, it's always like people become the greatest. People always become the greatest when they pass away, and I can't stand that. Or people come out as fans, right? Like, all of a sudden you're a fan now right after they passed away because you want to post on IG or on Twitter like a picture of them and say, oh, Baba, come on, man. Like, give people their flowers.
And you know what? That did happen with Pop for sure. But like, even if Pop wasn't, if he was still here and he wasn't skyrocketed to being this great artist that people made him out to be at the end, he still would have had a mega year because the songs were just.
I was about to say a lot of those songs are smashes. And then I think a little bit to yourself about what you said about 50 Cent is it's apparent that he even understood that, considering the persona that he chose, which is so similar, right? Brash, cocky, and also then just the interpolations of 50 songs on the album. It wasn't just one, it was a bunch of them, right? And 50 had his hands all over it. So it's like, again, we always talk about artists that are aware. Pop was very aware of what he was going for. He was trying to tap into that energy that 50 has. So I think that's what you were talking about when you said not trying to compare the two, but they are very similar in that way.
Right.
Okay. I got an MVP. I think that he's the MVP this year, and I guess we can have this debate now. I think it's Lil Baby. Again, we continue to talk about, how we're happy that the Grammys got it right with the album of the year. And no doubt, all of those albums deserve it. And it's so nice to see the Grammys actually stepping into a space where they understand good music for the culture, right? That isn't mainstream. Unfortunately, I feel like they missed it on this one with Baby not being nominated for album of the year. One, because the album is hard as shit. And two, because again, number one album across many weeks, even weeks when the album had been out like 10 weeks and then all of a sudden it would go back to number one just because of how strong the project was. Again, we talked about it. He drops socially conscious music, that really lifted him up. And he just dropped 2-3 more songs. I think the last, either he was featured on one or he had that are all fire the last like few days, honestly. Like, and this has just been his year. And I think that this is the first time that we can realistically have a discussion about the MVP of 2020 not being Drake.
Yeah.
Like Drake has his, man. And Drake's album made the albums list for me, but this is the year I think that Lil Baby, this is his year where he dominated over everyone.
Yeah. I absolutely have no argument with that.
Cool. I like that. I like that. But yeah, that album is fire. That album definitely made the albums list as well. But like again, I don't wanna say that mainstream has anything to do or sales have anything to do with how you should be viewing the album of the year. But the impacts of the culture, right? That can't be discounted, right? Because when it came out, it just, and people are still bumping this album to this day. So that should just go to show you. So Little Baby is my MVP, definitely one of the MVPs if anybody. And if everybody wants to argue someone else, there's plenty of people to choose from this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Go for it.
So bro, how you can't discount Meg, bro. Meg has been kicking up for a couple years, man.
Yeah.
And this year, like, there was no letting up.
Right. And Good News made my list. I'm giving it all away or whatever, but Good News made my list because it is a very solid project. And you know what? We would be remiss in our duty to not highlight the fact that Meg had an amazing year. Because she did, she was doing things that men weren't doing, as in terms of their music and things like that. And she's just, again, think about everything that surrounded Meg, all the turmoil, everything, all of the discussions and everything, and she still just continues to put out dope music and just be away from it. So, yeah, man. I mean, how can you talk MVPs of 2020 and not talk Meg Thee Stallion? That makes no sense to me.
No, at all.
Absolutely, and also. Top 2 hardest diss record of the year, honestly, is the intro from her to Tory. You know what? Let's argue. Let's argue. I don't give a shit. I got some time today. All right. How can we talk 2020 without talking about Freddie? I feel like I'm taking all the obvious ones. I'm not trying to go like in order or anything like that. But how is Freddie Gibbs not one of the MVPs of 2020? How many projects this year? Alfredo, we know that one. It was. Refresh my memory. Fetty wasn't this year. It was last year, right? With Currency?
Fetty was last year.
Okay.
So Gibbs's 2-year run is mostly filled with 2019 releases.
Yes. I have to say, I want to double check that, but I believe you. Yes. So, yes. Okay. Bandana, 2019. Fetty came out in 2018. That's crazy. And so did Freddie. Right. I could have swore that album was closer, but yeah, man. So this year, realistically, the only real release for Freddie Gibbs is Alfredo, which is a fucking masterpiece. But every feature, no matter whose project is getting cooked, and I think that's really where you like. Just Gibbs is on a remarkable run, like you said, the last 3 years. Now that we're really thinking about it that way. Again, ascending, still going up. And that's hard to say, man, for anybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Gibbs is, on the underground level, pretty much doing what we saw X do, bro. Like, this shit is crazy.
Talk about it. Just continuously putting out projects that are, again, we don't measure success with sales. We measure success with the product. And the product, you're talking about Fetty with Currency. You're talking about Bandana with Madlib. And then you're talking about Alfredo with Alchemist. Those are 3, if not classic projects, very, very close to it.
I mark all 3 of them as classics, personally.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I would probably rate the lowest is the one that I probably, I like Alfredo the most, and that's the highest one for me. But, I love Fetty. But when you start to talk about these 3 albums, it's probably the 3rd one on there, and that doesn't even make any sense. Like, I never would have thought I would have said that Fetty was the 3rd best release in his last 3 years. But it is to me because that Madlib album is so special, man. Like the both of them, they work so well together.
Yeah.
Right. So I took obvious ones. Give me another one.
All right. So another for me would be Roddy.
Roddy Ricch. Go for it. I mean, that's one that absolutely makes sense when you think about the song, when you think about that album. But yeah, go for it. That's one that I did not include. So I'm happy that you did.
I specifically say Roddy because we all know that Roddy had, mega smashes that were on radio and you couldn't like dodge them at all. But I mean, this again, it's just how you measure things, right? Like this isn't a measure of things being successful, but when it's actually dope and this is happening, it's undeniable, right? Like there were so many versions remade by people of the box on like fucking every platform you could think of, bro. Somebody made their version of it. I could pull up a white woman doing the box inside of an actual box, like her rendition of it. I could pull up Flavor Flav on TikTok. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, and any song as infectious as the box, I don't want to start crying, but that song reminds me of the 49ers season and specifically Miami when I was down there because, it didn't matter where you went, any party that we went to, anywhere that anybody was driving around, that was the song. And the 49ers loved it, and unfortunately that just brings back. Yes, that song was huge, man. Like you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. Even now, if we were allowed to have some sort of setting where we could hang out with people safely, if you played that song, the party's gonna go up. I think that hook is just so infectious,
Yeah. And I mean, Roddy and Mustard came off like,
yes,
great year for the kid, bro.
Yep. Underrated, under the radar, underrated MVP of 2020, The Alchemist.
Yeah,
I went there. Okay. We just talked about Alfredo, Lulu, Boldy James, anything else, his own personal album, his contributions to Action Bronson, his contributions to Conway, to Benny, so all of them. Alchemist this year, you were fully in your bag, and I watched you this year destroy every single beat that you put out there. What a year for a guy that nobody is talking about at this point as one of the better contributors this year.
Yeah. So with that said, bro, what about Hit Boy?
So Hit Boy is there too, and I'm glad you. So look, we're just gonna bounce them back off each other because there's so many, right? Hit Boy has to be talked about this way. You go first.
I mean, bro.
Name the albums. Go.
King's Disease.
Detroit 2.
Yes.
Just every the Deep Reverence record, man. Yep. Like everything, man. Like and wait, what are we forgetting? Who are we forgetting? Burden of Proof?
Yes, bro. Which I'm assuming made all of our lists.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean to bring up February. I apologize, but I had to talk about it. I mean, Trills brought up the box, man. Like, so, yeah. I mean, look, I left Burden of Proof off of my list because we're gonna go through the Griselda list, right? We could legit just take every release, so I just left it off of there. But yes, I think there is a discussion to be had about having that as the number one album of the year. But I think the discussion you and I are gonna have about which Griselda album is number one is gonna kind of cut that off because no matter which one or I pick, it's gonna be right. So that's the best part about it. But yeah, talk about Hit Boy a little bit more, man. Like I think, remember we talked about the versus battle being a turning point for him. Yeah. Like where he was just like, you know what, people are sleeping on me. He didn't like the reaction he got out of verses, and I'm all right. So you know what, I'm basing this on absolutely nothing because I have no sort of insight or anything like that.
Right.
But that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. I don't know if he had all that planned.
Right.
Like, it's hard to say if he had the Benny album planned, if he had the Sean, all that stuff planned. But it felt like right after the versus battle, he was like, y'all are sleeping. Like, y'all must have forgot type. I didn't mean to bring that back up. I'm sorry.
Must we reference Roy Jones right now, bro?
I had to. It was right there. I had to. The sweetest fruit is sometimes the lowest hanging. But yeah, man, Hit Boy, you're absolutely right, man. Anything to add on him, man? I mean, there's so much that can be said. I mean, honestly, at this point.
I mean, it's just so much immaculate production from him, man. Like we just mentioned all that stuff, right? And then you forget, like, even if he didn't do a full album, right? we still got The Blinding from him, bro.
See, he was messing around on the verse, playing his Beyonce records, Jay Electronica records, and they're like, "Oh, now you cheating," because it just, like, yo, the dude produced Sicko Mode, and y'all are out here just acting like he's whatever, you know? Like, I don't understand that, like it's a very much what have you done for me lately business, and it's very much driven by recency bias. It lets you forget people. because they haven't been doing it.
Yeah,
but
man.
Hit Boy reminded us all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, let's keep going. Who's an MVP from this year as well? So it's hard to like, say Griselda. We said Meg. We said Baby. These produced ones are great, man. But I think I just have to say it at the point. I think it's Conway. I mean, look, every verse of the year is a verse of the year contender. I mean, how can you argue that at this point? Seriously. Yeah. From a king to a god, dude, again, all right. I think this is just gonna lead us right into the Griselda talk or whatever. We might as well do it. But do you want to go through the albums that came? I have them listed right now. So let's see. So for Griselda, first one off the rip that comes up is Lulu, right? That's Conway. That's Conway and Elk, right? Yeah. That against the backdrop of 8 and Full. Gotta love that. All that stuff is great.
Yeah, man.
Pray for Paris.
Yeah, man.
Fly God 2. Who Made the Sunshine? Those are all West Side Gun albums. 3 in a year. 3 in a year. From a King to a God, Burden of Proof, The Liz, and then Boldy, Price of Tea, China, and Versace Tape. Good God, and try to help you if you want to figure out who's number one on this list, man. So I don't even want to try to list it. Let's section it off in 3 ways, and we'll bounce it off each other. What's your favorite album of all of these? First is what I'll ask you, and then I'll tell you mine.
My favorite, which would be what I rank at number 1.
Yep.
It's Pray for Paris.
Okay. Talk about it.
Pray for Paris for me is just the most cohesive in a way I like my albums, Personally, I like my shit really gangster, right? But I like it mixed with the plush fly shit too. Mm-hmm. And the production just does that here. You know what I mean? The Euro shit. We got food and alcohol talk here, which I'm obsessed with. It's just top to bottom. I mean, the whole listen, bro. There's no skipping, bro. There's fantastic Tyler to create. I could just go on and on. I could literally. This is the one out of all of these that I could just jizz all over about, bro. It's just immaculate.
All right, so here's what's funny. My favorite album isn't the album that I picked as number 1.
Okay,
if that makes any sense. Okay?
No, it does.
Okay, I don't disagree with anything. I feel like we're not going to disagree at all on anything that we say about Griselda at this point. And yes, the luxurious rap, again, being aware of what you're influenced by, Wu-Tang, those guys, the art, Pray for Paris in the most literal way, shit that's in the Louvre, all that fly shit. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with all of
that. That rollout was crazy.
Right. And then think about this, we just talked about Conway and Lulu having all of that paid in full stuff, understanding that, right? We talked about it with Benny. When you get pain in the ass on your record, you are fully aware of what you're doing, and again, knowing exactly what you're influenced by, where you come from, and you've never changed from that, but then also giving nods to the people that came before you and to the culture. That's really what draws you into this. But my favorite album might be a shock to you, man. It's going to be the Versace Tape. There's something about this album. Go ahead. You don't believe it?
No, I'm not shocked by it.
Oh, why? I mean, look, there's something about this album that I cannot stop listening to. Bullet Bowl's, offbeat yeah. His cadence is a little weird. It's almost like he's talking to you. He's feeding it to you, that way. Yeah. The production's fucking incredible, man. I really, and you know what I really enjoy about it is not, I hate to say that it's quick, But the way that it's put together is so beautiful. Like it just lands. All the songs land. Like there's like one record that I'm not even really that big on. And I could still listen to it, but it's the way Maria comes in. Like there's something about this album that I could never stop listening to. Like literally when you were like, oh, I'm getting ready, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna hop in the shower. I popped that on, and I was listening to that. So for me, my favorite Griselda album of this year is gonna be the Versace tape from Boldy James, man. Like I fucking love that album, man. But that's not my number one album, so let's move on. What's the most underrated album out of all of these? And I think I know your answer, and we're gonna agree on this one. Go.
I mean, the most underrated one is The Liz, for sure.
The Liz, let's go. That's it. Let's go.
For sure.
Let's go. Yep.
I mean, Shorty is rapping her fucking ass off on this shit, bro. And, it's just, she hasn't had the right look yet, right? She needs the look. She needs that visual, right, that takes it over the top and gets it to Twitter, because that's really what all this shit is ever about right now, is socials grabbing it. So she needs that. But, I mean, really fucking good rapping, really dope beats. Conceptually, like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly how to fit into that Kim and Fox pocket that we had in 95, 96. She's fucking killing it, bro. And that is highly slept on.
Yeah, and lock and step with you. Lock and step. From the Liz Taylor album cover, all of the things that you just mentioned, about understanding her place in the Kim and Fox role of, because Griselda is where they are, where they make music. It's fucking genius, man. Like, these guys didn't miss this entire year, man. Like, that's why I felt it was necessary that we talk about them as a collective. We're still not going to touch on all of them because we lock and step on the underrated one. I don't have to add anything to that. Now let's get to the shit. You said your number one album is Pray for Paris.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I disagree, and I didn't pick a West Side Gun album either. I am gonna roll. It's easy to say Burden of Proof because it came out recently, man. God damn, it's not From a King to a God, man. Burden of Proof has a little bit more mystique around it right now. Shout out to Benny. I heard some horrible shit about him saying that his foot doesn't work, and that's fucking terrible. And he just recorded 3:30 in Houston from a fucking wheelchair, bro. And that sounds incredible. That sounds incredible, by the way. Anyway, but it's easy to say, whether it be Burden of Proof, considering everything around. We talk about the hit production. We talk about this thing that's happened to him, which, unfortunate. Well, I don't want. Yeah, it is unfortunate that when an act of violence is against the rapper and they survive, their mystique gets, pushed up.
Yeah.
When it's like not even like tragic, it's like, yo, he's a beast. It's not like, damn, we need to fix this. But anyway, it's easy to get wrapped up in that. But god damn it, man, Conway is like any verse that he's been on. This album, which again, we're talking about top to bottom, no skips, which is pretty much all of them at this point.
Yeah.
I think my favorite Griselda album of the year is Don Damani. Like, I don't understand how this isn't the hardest one out of all of them. I know it's hard to pick one, right? We just talked about 10 albums, right? I know it's hard to pick one, but something about I already got it, and then the Juice shit, and then everything else too, man. And it's just like Alchemist is again going crazy. Again, that's his record. I picked From a King to a God. I know you won't disagree with that, but we did land on different places as to where we thought was the best album of the year.
Well, this is an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Let's compare what are our top three.
So I said Versace tape. It sounds like Liz is going to be one of yours. Or are you talking about top three guys?
Top three Griselda albums.
Oh, three? Okay. So Pray for Paris is one of my three. Okay. And then I've got From a King to a God, and I've got to put Burden of Proof.
So both of us have the same top three.
Right, okay. But I still told you that my favorite is Boldy.
Right.
It's just that I can separate my feelings of favorite for what are the better albums altogether. And I think
that makes perfect sense. That's not weird.
Right. But that's the top three of them. It's Conway, it's Benny, and it's Wes. Not downplaying anybody else, but those are the three right now. So I think it had to be them.
So one for me was Pray for Paris, followed by From a King to a God. followed by Burden of Proof,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have Versace Tape under that.
But see, there you go. You know, and I wouldn't be mad at that. You know what? Like I said, I love Versace Tape, and I still might put Fly Guy 2 ahead of that. Just to
Wow.
just a little bit. Yeah. I don't know, but I love them both. You know, again, this is such a beautiful year for them, and you know, we've talked ad nauseum about nobody doing this for again. Not happening again. You know, you're seeing something that you never saw. So I think that was good. We wrapped it up. You know, I think that this podcast has been largely pro Griselda, so you probably already know our stance on many of these. You didn't have to listen to it, so I'm just glad that we were able to talk about that. So let's get to this shit then. Let's try to navigate this one. This is the tough one, right? The top albums of 2020, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I included a bunch of R&B albums on mine too, as well. You know,
Okay.
or albums that are at least close, right?
Right.
So we're gonna land on many of them. So once you say one that's mine, boom, we'll just talk about it. If you do miss one of mine, which I don't think you will, then we'll talk about it. But Trills, give me one of your top albums of the year.
One of my top albums of the year is Written Testimony. Very easy.
Go for it. All right, so I'm on it. I'm with you there too. Start it off.
I mean, what the fuck is there to say about Written Testimony? You know, I mean, everybody knows, man. It's fucking fantastic. Jay Electronica raps, bro. Over the beats you expect Jay Electronica to rap over. Yeah. With him talking his Jedi talk, and we get all of our 5% shit, and then we have really, really great Hove rapping. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
I mean,
like we thought like the world might end, and Jay Electronica was right on time.
Look, the world was about to end. Jay Electronica gave us 2 albums and is nominated for Rap Album of the Year. If that does not encapsulate 2020, I am not sure what does. Absolutely. And I think all of those things that you talked about, like, again, you know, when we talked about this album, when we first heard it, I think all of that still rings true because it still hits so well now. But imagine having an album this, you know, with this amount of hype, mystique around it, and you put it out and everybody's like, shit's amazing. Like, how do you live up to that? Thought it would be. Right. How do you live up to that? Right. Like, that's the thing. Right. And you know what? Even if some people were like, you know, oh, it was good. No, for the majority, everybody was like, wow, this was incredible. This is a classic. And yeah, man. And it's just, and then it's just another notch to also, I hate to bring it back to this, but it's another notch to add to Jay-Z's belt of just him casually lifting your project up a little bit, you know, but neither here nor there. Kudos to you, Jay Electronica. Let's stay on Jay Electronica because I got Act 2 on there as well, too. Again, this was the album that we were supposed to get. This was the album we were really supposed to get, right? Yeah. To have this album sitting in someone's hard drive, to have this album just sitting there, and then finally someone got their hands on it and just said, I don't care, I'm putting this out. To Jay Electronica acknowledging it and saying, you know what? You're not going to make money off me. I'm just going to make money off it, and we're putting it out. And in not being fully finished, this is one of the most unusual rollouts for an album that is still very good and completely unfinished as well. Completely unfinished.
Yeah. It's wild because, like, you listen to it and you know it's not polished. You know there are some breaks in the instrumentals that probably needed to be filled in. But it's still fucking good. And honestly, it feels like our early, or should I say our late 2000s mixtape days where we were finding zip files and shit, right? Like, it feels like that. And that was like nostalgic in a way. And I mean, it was an unorthodox rollout, like you said, one of the weirdest things ever, but a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, man. Again, 2020, just, you know, but yeah, man, Act 2 is just as good as we thought it was too, as well, man. Like, there's just, see, it's again, you know, I hate when people are like, oh, why doesn't he drop something? Why doesn't he drop something? If that's what you got and you want to give it to us whenever you want, that's it. I'm with it. You don't have to be on anybody else's time when, you know, you're making genius level shit. I'm good, man.
Yeah.
All right. What's one? Oh, that's what I said. You go.
Okay, so RTJ4.
Yup. Go. Man, you know, again, a year with so much going on. This album comes out right around the tragic events of George Floyd, and a massive moment that is still happening right now in our country. A massive moment, right? And to have an album so directly related to what was being spoken about, even though it wasn't written around it. Like, they didn't let that shit happen one day and they were like, all right, let's write an album around this. They already created this album and then this happened and it still was exactly, you know, talking about all those things. So I hope I didn't take all your talking points, but go ahead.
No, you didn't.
Right.
You know, these are just brilliant guys, bro. To like be like, they have their fingers on multiple pulses. And who the fuck does that? Like, who has their fingers on the pulse of the streets and the pulse of politics and the pulse of the gaming community and the pulse of the rock community and on the pulse of nerd groups?
I was about to say, they got that. They're in their Adult Swim bag too.
This shit is wild, bro. Like, first of all, if you pitched a group like Run the Jewels to anybody at any fucking boardroom, they would say no fucking way.
No way. No fucking way. Because they're so polar opposite. It's so fucking crazy, man. That's the best part about it. I think that's what I really love about them. One's a guy from New York, a white guy from New York, and one is a black man from Atlanta. And and he's from fucking Dungeon Family of all places too, right? Like that ilk, like those people, right? Like it's such, like you said, like it's almost like, remember when I tell you about movies sometimes, like John Wick. I come into a boardroom and I tell you someone kills a dog and this man goes crazy and kills everybody over this dog. They would have thrown my ass out like fucking Jazz Jeff, bro. But that movie fucking great. And it's the same thing with Run the Jewels, bro. The same shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the most likable things about Run the Jewels is that they constantly point at any fucking type of authorities and say, yeah, this can be done. Like, you motherfuckers don't know what you're talking about, but we do. And the people that listen to us do. And that's phenomenal in itself. And you fucking tie that into really good rapping and like some of the wildest production like I've ever heard. Like, it's like, where do you even get these beats, fam?
See, that's the thing too. It's not like, you know, they're just rapping over boom bap. Like, there's elements of that, but it's like, you know what else too is they have to meet each other halfway. Well, not really. I think Killer Mike has to meet him halfway. Like, he has to meet LP halfway. I think he had to get on board with those beats and everything and move towards him, I think, a little bit more than the other way. But I mean, that's just, again, my opinion. I have no insight into that.
No, it seems that way. We don't know, but that's the way it seems to us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Run the Jewels, man.
Walking in the Snow might be one of the best songs ever.
Did you watch Ozark this year?
Yes.
Okay. How did that end? Ooh la la wee wee. Yo, I'm just like, bro, like, you getting these placements everywhere, man. Yeah. Like, you know, like they had a big year, man. And it doesn't feel like a big year because, one, during the time, so this is another thing that they did with this album. It was free because they knew people were hurting. They said, if you wanted to buy it, you can. That's fucking awesome, man. To give something as worked on and it has so much into it for free, because you understand the climate and everything, fucking hats off to them, men of the people type shit, bro.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, this is one thing I want to say. Related. It's related. So last year, was it last year? Earlier in the year, before COVID hit, I bought Rage Against the Machine tickets.
Yep.
For August.
Yep.
They were supposed to be performing with Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels. You would have got this album with the Rage concert. Wow. I'm sorry.
So look, here's the thing though. Like they pushed it to this coming August.
Mm-hmm.
But Rage hasn't confirmed who will be on that date. Right. Please cross your fingers.
I will
to get the same fucking lineup.
Oh man, I'm with you, bro. We can move on from that. I'm definitely gonna send all the positive energy your way. So
thanks, man. I need it.
Yeah, you got it. Slime and B. What the fuck you gonna say about Chris Brown and Young Thug, man? Again, it's again like when we talked about this album when it first came out, I was just like, why did I never see this pairing? Like it's almost right in front of you. It's almost like peanut butter and jelly. Who was the first person to put that shit together? Because it was right there in front of you. Like whose crazy ass was like, yo, my sandwich, peanut butter, and then jelly. How about that, fam? And then whoa. But it's the same thing with Chris Brown and Young Thug, man. You know, the melodies, everything. Chris has just been putting out like 40-song albums, which are for the most part quality, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like that's insane, right? So like this pairing was great, man, and I felt like this album completely flew under the radar. Yeah, the songs being played on the radio now, but if we had Outside when this came out during the summer, this shit would have went crazy. And I didn't mean to say that because the single is called Go Crazy, but yeah.
Nah, it's true. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I sucks, man. And then Young Thug had to say that stupid shit about Andre 3000 and like ruin all that. Yeah, I know. We don't got to rehash that or whatever. All right, but give me another one of yours.
Another one of mine. Living Off Experience, bro.
Okay, I didn't include that one. That one was hard. Because I looked at it and I was like, damn it, why am I not putting this on here? But then I started looking at like, damn, I got to start like, really getting like to it. But I don't disagree. Talk about it a little bit more for me.
It's just really dope to see Locke still in shape, bro.
Yeah, man.
They're still in shape, bro. And like even they have grown, right? So we get some complexities in the Locks and we get to hear about some other shit that is just not all the way street shit, right?
Right.
Which is dope, but they are still top tier street rappers. They did not change the formula too much. The storytelling, I mean, come on, bro. That track is, it reminds you why you love rap. They landed it 100%.
Yep. I am with you on this one, man, for sure. It's just, again, it's a numbers game. It has nothing to do with the way that I feel about this album, but I just love, I love the Large Professor, production, like you said, the storytelling.
Oh man. Locks and Griselda.
Right, yeah, man. Again, nods to exactly where you came from and everything as well. This is a great album as well too, and it really made me happy that it came out during the time. Like even we got an X joint on there, like like that felt cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially around this time with the verses and everything, and X just came off that, so it was like it's always good for me to see DMX doing his thing, whether it's one way or another. So, all right, who do I got here? What am I gonna go with here? I'm gonna take an obvious one. I think we should just talk about it, because we're already here. It's Alfredo.
Yeah.
I think I think we already have, highlighted this album is a classic, and it's going to be a classic for years down the line. I don't care, at me on Twitter, all day. I don't give a fuck. But the part that I just, I have a hard time trying to figure out is what's my favorite song on the project. Do you want to take a stab at it?
I mean, I know what mine is. It's still Scotty Beam. It hasn't changed.
Okay. And so, good. So now I can ask you a follow-up question to that. Who's the best feature on Alfredo?
Come on.
See? I'm putting the screws to you now.
See, I don't know if I have an answer for that.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what my favorite song is, and it's still Baby Shit. Okay. I still just, I just still can't get over the bounce. Like that song, how they say like when you go to hell, they make you do the same thing over and over again. Well, if I go to hell and they say you got to listen to Baby Shit over and over for the rest of your life, I might be all right, man. I'm gonna trick them, and be like, oh no, come on, who could listen to that? Yeah, right. Yeah, and knocking that shit. And then I'll tell you what I think the best feature is. I think it's Conway, man. Or is that him on Babies and Fools?
Yeah.
That's him on Babies and Fools, right? Yeah, because it's between him and Benny. But Rick Ross.
It's between him and Benny. It's between him and Benny. I mean, Rick Ross did what we knew Rick Ross was going to do. And that's unfortunate, right? Like that we get to a point where like Rick Ross with his like just so in pocket on a beat that's perfect for him. It's Taylor right. It's so expected, right, that we're getting like jaded by it, and it's like this would have been like one of the verses of the year, but since Rick Ross delivers it so often,
you know what it is? It's like when you see LeBron drop 40 and you're like, whatever. I'm not gonna shit about that. Like, you're not just acting like because you've seen it before, it's easy. You know what I mean? Like, how about you take some pride in saying that? Why is he making it look so easy?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know what else needs to be said about this thing, man. You know, like if it wins album of the year, I'm with it. But Freddie's getting his time right now in the light, and he deserves it. And again, man, Alchemist is one of my MVPs, and this album is the one that. All right, so why is Alchemist the MVP? I don't even got to play you Lulu and the other shit. I might just play you this and just hand it to you and just say,
oh yeah,
don't ask me any more questions after this. So,
oh
yeah, that was an obvious one. Give me one of yours now.
So. I mean, they're all obvious at this point, right? Allegory.
Yeah, it's on mine. Yep, talk about it.
Fucking fantastic. Another person that's on my list, which we don't really need to talk about the album because we know what I'm going to say about the album. But Black Thought's one of those guys that raps so fucking crazy. It's so fucking crazy. But like Royce has met that mark.
Yes. And it's effortless too. Like the elaborate cadence, the schemes, everything, and it's still effortless, right? He's stepping up the complexity of his raps with less effort. That's when you know you're in a pocket that other people can't get to. And that's where Royce is. And that's why I'm glad this is live. I hope people are on my Twitter watching this right now. That's why I say that Royce the 5'9" is the better rapper than Eminem, the better artist. Because he can rap his ass off and the content and the subject matter is relatable.
Look,
and it's actually something that anybody could be going through.
You are right. You're right.
Anyway, yes, Allegory. I think the other thing that slept on in this album, all the production is done by who?
Royce the 5'9".
That's incredible. He might deserve Rap Album of the Year just for that, if not for the fact that we're giving it to Nas because this is his Susan Lucci moment, which I did double check. That's actually her name. I can't believe it. But that's what I'm talking about. Name me someone that at the end of their career is still possibly improving in the way that they're conducting their raps and now has added a high-level production that he flows seamlessly into to his tool belt. Like, what else can you say?
I don't think anyone else can point to an artist that has gotten better with age, has the technical ability that almost no one has, can also drop the gems in a way that does not feel preachy.
Right, that's important.
That can go toe-to-toe with really, really gangster rappers. Can weave in some really dope poetry and make all the beats. I don't think you can even point to another guy.
And I don't think that people understand how hard that is.
Bro, first of all, just writing good raps is not fucking easy.
No.
It's not fucking
easy. If you care.
Right. Well, I mean, if you're writing really, really good rap, I assume you care. But that's hard in itself. Let alone thinking about sequencing and the right voice for this and the right voice for that and who fits for this and who fits for that and making the beats and making it a conceptual body of work. That's
the other thing too, man. He crafted an entire, again, albums that feel like books, albums that feel like movies, that they're just like you press play, you don't touch the button because everything means something. Every song has a purpose. Every song sequence the way that it does has a purpose, right? I think that people get away from that sometimes. Yeah, I mean, we can wrap it up on that one. I'll tell you one of mine. Let's I'll get back to R&B. I'm the one that's going R&B. This is something you actually put in front of me and something that I didn't see. I listened to the album, and Tiana Taylor's album made it this year. You're on it too? Okay, I figured this is going to be one of yours, but you are the one who told me about it, so I will give you the credit for it. But we talk about aware, we talk about understanding the exact thing you're going for. The Grace Jones cover, having Erykah Badu on, with the samples, for Lifetime and all that shit. And it's just like understanding all of that. And on top of that, having so many songs and having it be such a solid body of work for someone who, quite frankly, and now I have to eat a little bit of crow on this, wasn't that big of a fan of before. But I think it was because I allowed the Kanye West album to largely navigate the things that I thought about her, as opposed to, really going and checking on her. But this album was amazing, man. Tiana Taylor really showed me something this year, and it's one of the better albums of the year for sure. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
No.
All right. Which one of yours? Do you want to add something there?
No, I was just gonna say another album that has like a really fantastic Rick Ross verse on it. But I mean,
yeah. How many of these are? So, how many of these are we gonna say that about? How many of these albums already have we talked about that he's been on? He wasn't on Pops. He wasn't on. He was on Alfredo. He wasn't on Written Testimony. He wasn't on Slime and B. Not on Allegory. We're gonna get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll talk. You know what? I got one right after this that he was on for sure. I know, but go ahead. So he said another Rick Ross verse, man. Now he wasn't on Run the Jewels either, right? So, good. What's one you got?
I gotta say, who am I forgetting, man? I mean, let's just hit the shot and say King's Disease. We already know it.
There. Go for it. Yep, I got it. King's Disease is definitely on there. Again, shout out to Hit Boy. Nas quietly, his last few albums, aside from the Nasir album, the full length ones, the ones not produced by Kanye West, quietly have been very, very good. Very good. And this is one of his better ones. Like, this is one that, I know that there's sometimes that we just get happy when artists put something out that's really solid, and we're just happy that they're doing that because whatever, we're scared. But like, this is one that I think that we can push up pretty high in his discography. And that's important, I think, in 2020 for Nas to put out an album that we can say goes up with his other accomplishments and his classics and things like that. I think that's really important, and I think that's the concept of this album.
Yes, and also Nas being the OG that he is, and the one that people had long considered to be the stubborn OG, not like the Jay-Z OG. Finally, like really, really going to younger talent to make this album feel fresh.
Yeah,
and also pulling the firm back in, like again, man, balance.
How funny was that when Grant tweeted that today, bro? I went to send it to you, and you already in the comments. I think that is so funny, bro.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know, Trills. I think we kind of, hit all of them. I think, we're close to an hour, so I think, we could, get close to wrapping it up. But I think we could highlight some other ones pretty quickly. My Turn. Obviously, My Turn. I definitely, we have to talk about that. Again, Little Baby, #1 album of the year. If you want to say that this is album of the year, I'm not gonna fight you on that one. You can bring an argument for this as well, too. Like I said, for all the reasons listed, people gravitate to Baby Story. Locked Up, came out, made good. Unfortunately, he has to walk around with a gun in his hand all the time. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't come to the music. But yeah, man. I don't see how anybody could talk about albums this year without talking about My Turn.
Yeah.
Some other ones that if you guys didn't get a chance to check out, or don't think that they that they would be on this list. Super Good, Duckworth, incredible fucking album. I continue to listen to that all the time. Savage Mode 2. I thought Savage and Boomin did an amazing job this year with their project. They slid on it both like the perfectly. Savage put him in Savage. Boomin put Savage in spots where he couldn't miss, and Savage like in bag all the way in this album, just the way he was bouncing everything. So we said King's Disease, Run the Jewels, My Turn, A Written Testimony, The Allegory, Darkline demo tapes. I mean, I don't know if you consider this an album, but this is a really good Drake project, and I really enjoyed it. I find myself listening to it a lot, actually. Like when I'm in between, when I'm not trying to burn albums out. Like when I don't want to listen to an album 38 times in a row because I like it so much and I need to switch. Like this isn't a bad, So Drake really dropped another dope album this year, and just kind of fell by the wayside,
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I left off this year. I left both Future projects off.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I don't like.
Shocker
I don't
for
like.
you, man.
Yeah, I don't like where I'm going, like in the way that I'm thinking. I think that I'm like delving into like super old man territory now, where I can't even enjoy the things that I used to enjoy. Like, nah, man, stop being a damn kid. Nah, but I mean, I don't know. You know, High of Life and the Uzi project. I picked songs off of it. They just largely didn't hit for me, and I think that's how we talked about them when they first came out.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people really feel the same way about the Uzi collab.
That one did not work for me, and I'm not even trying to shit on Uzi because I listened to his album. I don't think you did, right?
I didn't get around to Uzi's album.
You're fine, but I mean, for me, I wound up being surprised by how many songs I actually did like on it. So I don't hate Uzi. I'm not one of those guys. Yeah, that one did not work. Did not work. And that one is a collab for the sake of a collab, and I hate that idea.
Yeah.
Like come together with an idea, but don't just be like, yo, you hot, I'm hot. Let's just get in the studio and rap some bullshit. Nah, come on, man. Good news, Meg.
Yeah.
Talking about that. That made the list as well too. Again, top 2 diss song this year. It's up there, definitely. Tory Lanez, you still a whole bitch. Anyway, it is what it is. Thundercat.
Yep.
I wound up liking this album a lot more when I went back to it than I did, because I think I had my expectations for it because I loved the album before it. So I love Drunk so much that it kind of psyched me out. But it is what it is. It's a dope project, man. Thundercat delivered again. We talked about Shoot for the Stars. So help me God.
Yeah.
2 Chainz.
So help me God. Yeah, for sure.
2 Chainz. Stop giving us hard shit, bro.
Yeah, man. Libra.
Libra. Good. Yes, man. I mean, it's hard to lead. This is again, we're just like these aren't honorable mentions. Like these are
extinction level event too. I mean,
yes. Keep going. Look,
Crosswords for Muhammad. There you go.
Look. No Pressure. Logic's album. Action Bronson, Only for Dolphins.
Yeah.
Reason, New Beginnings.
Yeah.
Like you see, and we just did a whole segment of 10 Griselda albums that we are defining as very great to classics. And now we are in a space where we're talking about 20 and 30 albums in a year.
Just running them all.
Sorry, guys. You're not going to convince me that hip-hop had a bad year this year or that hip-hop's in a bad place because many of these albums that we just talked about hit different subgenres. We've got the hard trap shit. We've got the conscious shit. We've got the party shit. Everything here. It all can coexist. That's why you're not gonna convince me that this year was bad. There's no way you can convince me.
Bro, featuring Ty Dolla $ign. I mean,
I left that off. I had to. It hurt my feelings, bro. Look, Jack Harlow just dropped. We got a Juicy J album this year with Recession 2. Dude, like I could just go down the list of albums that I've just been listening to this year, and it's like, we didn't talk about Black Thought's album. Like there's too much. Alchemist, DZA. Bryson Tiller dropped something this year. Like the Spillage Village album. There's so much this year. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna end the episode here, but I think the way that we're gonna end it is if you believe in 2020 that hip hop is lacking, you need to either change what you're looking for or realize that you need to change your statement to all of mainstream rap is not good. That's what's gonna change it. Boom.
Yep.
Like that. All right. What you got? What you got to promote, bro? This is an amazing episode. 30, the year's done, man. Like you even added the Santa hat to the top, man. It's fucking genius, bro. Like
I mean, we try to do something that feels like it's in the moment.
For sure. And it's been a whole year basically of us doing this, 30 episodes, time, however, because of whatever scheduling conflicts and things like that. But man, what a fucking year, man. Like, all right. What's your favorite, like, funny topic that we've covered, man? It's a lot, man. Like, I know look, let's toss Boozy out. Let's toss all of the obvious stuff out. Like, what was, like, one of the, like, you know what I think it is? Like, can I just steal it? Like, I'm just going to, I know I asked you a question and I just, like, take it back. Right, I think it's anytime we talk about Dr. Umar.
Yeah, like, bro, like, even the mention of his name is funny.
Did you, all right, so, real quick, so we can end this on this note for the rest of the year or whatever, because we're definitely bringing this segment into next year, right? Because I'm loaded with the Dr. Umar out of context clips. I've got so many. But I think one of my favorite ones is he's like sitting in his car. Because remember, he was like living in his car for a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not laughing at that. That's not funny. I'm just saying that he's like doing all of these lives from there. And again, it's out of context. They cut it and he's sitting there holding the book and he's like, "You ain't my father." I'm like, yo. So it's like, how do you use that as a reaction? It's like, oh, like out of context. It's like, what was he talking about that led him to talk about that? And then there's like another one of like, he's like, "Don't no white person talking here. You ain't my friend." Like, and he's going crazy, bro.
That's so much good Umar content.
That's my favorite thing of the year, bro. I swear, I think that's my favorite thing of the year, fam.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna get your ass next year with that shit though. Like, I'm going in. Like, when we do the segment, we're gonna battle and we're gonna post a poll like which one's funnier. But,
let's do it.
All right, word. So, promote your shit, man. You know, new music, everything. You know, let's go.
I mean, you know, the latest music was gifts and donations.
Donations.
There you go. That's streaming. Please go keep running that up. Perfect for your Ratchet holiday. And please keep running up the Carl Kanai video. You guys have been doing that wonderfully for us. The Trills video. Oh yeah, man. Shout out to BET Jams for sure for running us for multiple weeks. Shout out to Carl Kanai too for reaching out to us and just telling us that it was like really dope. And we appreciate all of y'all in here too, man. That's really dope.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think we're gonna go to this, you know, from now on. You know, I thought that it was cool for us to test this out, being the last one, and that we were gonna be talking about, you know, everything that goes on in the year. So, you know, we're gonna take our break, you know, enjoy our family time, you know, and then we're gonna come back in 2021, you know, ready to go with, you know, with whatever format where we think is best. You know, we might just go back to the basics, or, you know, we might change it up, especially now that we have this new streaming platform. If we're going to do it this way, it allows us to do a lot more, get more creative and do different things. So I'm excited to continue to work and grow this thing with you, man. This is like my favorite thing. It's perfect. It's a perfect distraction from the, what's the word? The rigors of covering football and doing that with fans on Twitter. So I love this because we get to kick back and act like, you know, we're just chilling, like, you know, like we're like normal.
Like we, you know what I mean? Like we used to do when we was really out here, man.
Yeah, man. Like just hanging out and doing anything. Like I'd give anything to go sit in the studio right now, like and just sit there and bullshit. Like, you know, like anything. Like something small like that, man. But yeah, bro. So yeah, just you know, remember guys, subscribe everywhere, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you get your podcasts. Make sure that you follow Trills right there at his @sign. Make sure you follow me on here and subscribe to the YouTube and click the bell, man, so you'll never miss an episode or when we go live or anything like that. So you know, for Jay, for Trills, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and you know, enjoy your family, and we'll see you next year.